Jonathan Gannon is not getting fired if the Cardinals don't make the playoffs in 2025. Monty Ossenfort is not getting fired if the Cardinals don't make the playoffs in 2025. I guess I got to do this. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Been doing, radio and been in the media for 15 years in Phoenix, hosting this show for 10 years, going on my 9th season. I'm fired up today. This totally derailed my plan today of going into camp competitions, which I'll move to Tuesday and Wednesday. Offense tomorrow, defense on Wednesday. Apparently, there's some things rolling around this morning about Jonathan Gannon and his job security going into 2025. We need to have an adult conversation about this because people are being lazy. I don't like lazy. I don't like clickbaity crap. I try to do an honest show. I try to, inform people. What do I say? I like to treat people like adults, and we're going to do that today. We're going to do that today for 27 minutes. All of it. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. You can check out the Locked On Cardinals squad show Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ben Garcia, myself, and Jameel Douglas. Had a hell of a fun time last week with our first two shows. And we'll be Tuesday and Thursday for the foreseeable future. See what the schedule looks like when the season starts. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDNFL for $20 off your first purchase. So here's the thing. Today's show, I'm going to discuss Jonathan Gannon's going nowhere. I normally do the reversal, third segment to first. First segment, Jonathan Gannon's going nowhere. Second segment, Monty Ossenfort is going nowhere. And the third segment, could anybody go somewhere? That's kind of fun. I'm going to do that in the last segment. Here's the thing. This is what we know. These are factual things. When Jonathan Gannon took over as head coach at the end of the 2022 season, the Arizona Cardinals retained less than 50% of their roster in 2023. That's a fact. A fact. The Cardinals roster was the most discombobulated version of what an NFL roster should look like with talent dispersion. That's a fact. And what Monty Ossenfort was tasked to do was come in and pretty much rebuild a house that was put together with popsicle sticks and crazy glue. That's a fact. These things, not physically, not physically, not literally, but figuratively, but serious figuratively. That's a whole other category. Serious, but figuratively. Those things are factual, okay? So when you look going into 2025, this roster, immaculate compared to the end of the 2022 season. Cohesion, culture, everything. Report card-wise that Jonathan Gannon would get, the lowest grade he would get anywhere would be a B, I would think. And the progression of 2023, where Kyler missed half the year, to 2024, last year, where they were on the precipice of something and then faltered late. All the additions this offseason, all the draft picks from 2 years ago, ramping up Garrett Williams, Paris Johnson Jr., to last year with Marv and Max Melton, etc. And then this crop of studs that they drafted with Walter Nolan and Will Johnson and Cody Simon and Jordan Birch, etc., added to Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, etc., the conversation of, if the Cardinals win 5 games, Jonathan Gannon's out, sure, okay? And also, if Kyler Murray gets a spell put on him where he can only throw the ball with his left hand, that'll probably result in Jonathan Gannon getting fired also. Let's live in the rational world here. This is why it's difficult for me to get through to Cardinals fans sometimes and other media members. I will remain nameless. The first tweet that I saw out from this, no longer in the space, really, had been in the space for a long time, but we'll remain nameless. I know it's July. I know people who aren't creative need to fabricate things to talk about. I also know that talking about irrational situations just to get a conversation going isn't constructive. It's not constructive. Let's discuss the positive things that have happened and look towards a rational outcome. What's the rational outcome for the Cardinals, especially with the third place schedule that they have? If the Cardinals win 6 games and there's no injuries included, I will hand Jonathan Gannon the pink slip myself. But let's be in a rational town here, okay? Did you know, side note, I looked this up, that I might need to eat some of this myself, that watermelon has the chance of reducing blood pressure. I'm already sourcing watermelon for today because I need this boiling to stop. People need to do better when talking about this team. Jonathan Gannon has done nothing but taken a relegated AAA football team, and week 1 of his first week as head coach against Washington, with Josh Dobbs, who had been here for less than a month, completely changed the way this team plays. Immediately. And I don't understand why it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to sound smart. Let's look at the win-loss record and nothing else. Oh, 3 losing seasons. You're out of here, bucko. Why? Look at the big picture. They haven't even played in 2025 yet. This is the best roster Kyler Murray's had at any level of his playing career. They don't have any weaknesses. If you're grading on a curve with weaknesses, sure, you could say off-ball linebacker and offensive line in some capacity. But this is a far cry from having like 4 good players on the roster that Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort took over. On top of that, Kyler Murray being out for the first, 9 or 10 games of JG's inaugural campaign. So having the conversation like, okay, well, Jonathan Gannon, if they only win 6 games, he's out of here. It's like, let's be constructive. Let's talk about what actually could happen. The fact that the Cardinals winning 6 games in 2025, barring any sort of unforeseen catastrophic, snowball of injuries, knock on wood, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Stop wasting your breath. Be constructive. Don't fabricate things just to make things up, to have conversations, because you're not creative enough to do that in the offseason. I can't understand it. I can't understand it. What I can understand is all of the good that Jonathan Gannon has done. Has it been perfect? No. Did he make some pretty big mistakes last year in key situations in play calling, whether it be calling a timeout, going forward on 4th, punting, whatever it is? Absolutely. Has he been perfect? Of course not. Would I take him over the last head coach? 100 times out of 100. 1,000,000 times out of 100. Would I take him over Bruce Arians? We can have a conversation. It's very difficult to rationalize with a very unrealistic outcome that would result in Jonathan Gannon getting fired. But I guess I have to change my schedule to address it, which is fun. I love talking about it. Come on. I love this show. I love it. I love it, baby. Of all the things to discuss, Jonathan Gannon getting fired, that's what we're doing here in July. The one time in the last handful of years where there's an actual roadmap to sustained relevancy and respect around the league. And we're going to look at the potential negative in a situation that more chance than not will not happen. I'd do it a different way. But you know what? I guess what? We got to talk about Monty Ossenfort's job security too. Why? I don't know. We're going to do it though. It's going to be fun. Next, Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by the Game Time app. We've all been there, man. Logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. And it sucks. And live music should be able to you should be able to make memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. And that's where Game Time comes in. That's where they come in. And, Game Time's got you covered, man. That's where they come in. Game Times makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as the event gets closer. So, you hang out a little bit, check out the Game Time app. you may be able to save even more cheese. You can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. And my favorite thing about this app, talked about it a lot, is the panoramic seat view function. So say you're going to a concert, going to a baseball game, whatever it is, and maybe it's an arena or a stadium you haven't been to yet. You're like, what's this? The price looks good. You click on the row in the section and the aisle, and you can see a vantage point that you'd see if you were to buy those tickets. It's an absolute game changer. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Tell the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. You know how to do it. It's year 10, bro. Yeah, so while I understand that if things go haywire for some form or some reason, yeah, Jonathan Gannon may be on the way out. But the fact that we lead with that after all the things that have happened this offseason, all the momentum they built, even though it didn't end you the way you wanted it to last season, it's kind of a slap in the face to everybody who's been working so hard to get it to where it is now. And I'm sorry for the people who thought it was supposed to be a 2-year rebuild instead of a 3-year rebuild. When Kyler Murray's out for the first half of the season and the roster was in shambles, I'm sorry that you get upset, spaghetti, that it took an extra year, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. This is what the natural progression of things looks like. This is how you completely overhaul a dysfunctional organization since its inception. This is how you do it. Slowly, surely, methodically, boringly. And then you take advantage of opportunities that come your way like they did this offseason. Massive. In massive ways. Monty Ossenfort ain't going anywhere either. So this is more of the obvious one. I thought the first one was the obvious one, but I guess not. Still kind of flabbergasted with that. But Monty Ossenfort ain't going anywhere either. If I could only do a segment for 40 seconds, that would kind of be the end of the segment. Let's remember that I'm not comparing Monty Ossenfort to anybody who used to be GM of the Arizona Cardinals. Say the former GM of the Arizona Cardinals retired. It's like, you know what? Had a great run, retired. God, I mean, even saying that jokingly is hysterical. Monty Ossenfort's performance in a vacuum has been great. It's been great. And it's something that I love it. Like, here's the thing. Anybody, like, I'm going to just hit the heartstrings of like a contingent of the everydayers here. When college football, NCAA college football was a real thing, and then now it's back, obviously. But you could start a dynasty, and you could start with all Fs. You can make up your own college, and then, recruit, play, lose all your games, recruit, get better, get 2-star athletes, then sim the season, and then recruit, and then get ranked, and then you get all the way down to when you're not winning a couple of national championships before you start over. Those are the vibes that Monty Ossenfort has given me. It's like, okay, start with almost zero, except for a franchise quarterback who's going to be out half the year with an ACL tear. Go. It's kind of what we're seeing. There's no promise that any of this is going to work. If I could tell the future, I would not. I mean, I might still be here. Like, I would probably still be here. But wouldn't it be cool to tell the future? But, the incremental growth, the compound interest, as I've called it, the compound interest is, veterans wanting to come play here, like we saw 3 come choose the Arizona Cardinals. They probably could have gotten more money elsewhere. This is all Monty. Got to give Michael Bidwell his credit for, being pretty hands-off, being on the inside looking in, as I call it, where obviously he's still the owner, but he still doesn't. Monty Ossenfort's calling the shots. Player personnel, etc. This has been just, I don't know, right? Like, am I completely insane to think that Monty Ossenfort was the perfect dude for the job? He's got multiple rings with New England. He got his taste in Tennessee when they were good. And he's come over, he got a role, and he took over a dysfunctional organization with one of the worst GMs we've seen in the last 25 to 30 years. So it's not going to be overnight. With all of that said, though, as next segment I'll pivot into, is anybody on not the hot seat per se, but is there anybody that should be on a watch for next year? Talk about the next, but it's like, this is the year. Obviously, all of this stuff is kind of a moot point one way or the other if the Cardinals meet expectations or exceed expectations. Nobody's going anywhere. If they fall short of whatever the expectations are after we get through camp, after we see what they've got, after what the depth chart looks like, after what we see in some form or fashion during the preseason, then that last week, the week of the 21st or 24th or whatever it is, when there's no football, that whole week, and then, that's week one, the week after, like, that's when you have the real expectations. What's the line of demarcation for Kyler Murray, for JG, for Monty, whatever, for the coordinators? We're like a month away from that. We're 6 weeks away from that because so much still needs to kind of be cleared up. A lot of the great question marks still lie, but they're all great question marks that I talked about on Friday's show. Like, these camp competitions, it's good. It's all good. It's like, is a rookie going to supplant a second-year dude? Or is a second-year guy going to really take that leap? And maybe Will Johnson's not going to be getting 90% of the snaps because Max Melton's a dude ready to play. Like, they're fun conversations. But when it comes to Jonathan Gannon and now Monty Ossenfort, it's like, I don't think people understand how bad it was here when they took over. So calling for the hook after year 3, barring any sort of random 5 or 6 win season, depending on injury or otherwise, that's like 10% of the pie. It's like, why are we wasting the breath when you could actually be constructive about things that are actually happening now? Same goes with Monty Ossenfort. Like, if you told me that Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort swept head coach and GM of the year this year, would it be shocking? Would you be shocked if that happened? Like, no. Right? Like, I don't think that's crazy. If the Cardinals, are 7-1 in one-score games, like, there's always a team or two like that get the bounce, that get the opportunistic turnover, that are able to get that third and short to salt away the game. Like, it happens every year. If you told me the Cardinals won 12 games in 2025 and won the NFC West, this is the first time, even like in the 2021 season, nobody expected that. Come on, dude. It was fool's gold. I knew it the whole time. I'm sorry. I just did. If they win 12 games and win the NFC West, Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort both win coach and GM of the year. So the reason for my vitriol and pushback towards the conversation about him going anywhere is the Cardinals are closer to that happening than him getting fired, with the roster and everything constructed and their momentum they've had year over year. And that's, I think, why it irked me a little bit. Yeah. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Is anybody potentially on the move? This is one I will entertain because there's more ramp up to this for a couple different reasons. It's not going to be just one thing or the other, because this is Locked On Cardinals. Keep you guessing. Next. YouTube channel, Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Subscribe, like, comment. Locked On Cardinals Squad Show with myself, Ben Garcia, and Jamil Douglas. It's been really fun. I forgot what it was like to have co-host. It's fun. It's a completely different. It's different, and it's good, and it's great, and it's gonna only get better. We're already talking like we've been doing this for a year, so it's really fun. It's on this channel. There's a different playlist for the Cardinals Squad Show. Check it out. They're hour long, so it's a little bit of a longer format. Really fun stuff. Are any coaches potentially on the move after this season? I mean, here's the thing. Let's look at two scenarios. One, the Cardinals have a top 5 defense. Nick Roush could 100% get a coaching job somewhere else, head coaching job somewhere else. I don't care that he's young. The dude just came, like, he just gets it. Do you remember? Everydayers, you'll remember this. If this is your first on the Locked On Cardinals, you'll get a little introspection into my brain here. I'm big on look on the sidelines for coaches. Big on it. Like, Robert Saleh didn't look like a head coach to me. He looked like a defensive coordinator. He got a head coaching job. Didn't work out. D'Amico Ryans looked like a head coach on the sidelines for a couple years. You just tell he just looked like a head coach. Good head coach. Cliff Kingsbury did not look like a head coach on the sidelines. I'm not even joking about the bucket hat and the glasses and the short pant, like the jog, like that. Not at all. He never looked the part. Jonathan Gannon, I didn't know if he was going to look the part or not. I genuinely didn't. I'm like, for those that have listened for a long time, I have a show on here that said it should be Shane Steichen and not Jonathan Gannon. It's got to be an offensive guy. And I'll own that 100%. Shane Steichen's doing a great job in Indy. I think the Cardinals would have won either way. But week 1, preseason, 2023, I was curious to see if JG looked the part. And you saw crossed arms, stoic, sideline. I'm like, oh, that's a head coach. That's a head coach. And this isn't like typecasting. This isn't anything like that. It's like you can just kind of tell if a dude has control of the situation or not. And Nick Rallis has that look. He has that look. So if the Cardinals have a top 5 defense in 2025, could be out. Could be out. Now, the other side. If the Cardinals have a top 5 offense, Drew Petzing's not getting a head coaching job. So the only way you could lose a coordinator, in my opinion, after 2025 is if the Cardinals have a top 5 defense, Nick Rallis is going to get looks. If the Cardinals offense doesn't drastically improve and isn't the motor behind all of this, irrespective of the talent level boost on the defensive side of the ball this offseason, Drew Petzing's not going to be the coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals anymore. Does that mean that Kyler Murray goes with him? I don't know. I don't want to have that conversation. I'm very interested in hypotheticals. I love it. That's what sports media is built on a lot of times. Future pacing stuff, things that haven't happened, at what you think is going to happen, reading the quote unquote cliched tea leaves to lend you to a destination on a thought process on any given topic. Sure. I'm not going to have the Kyler Murray's go, oh, we have no idea what's going to happen. Like truly, I will use that because it's like, it's a waste of breath. It's a debate show conversation. I don't want to do that. But my tea leaves and, the experience from both of these coordinators, the only way the Cardinals lose one is if Nick Rallis gets a head coaching job somewhere else or the Cardinals offense craters and Drew Petzing is not asked to be back. That's not to say Nick Rallis would take a head coaching job. I am team pay your coordinators like head coaches. Unified front. Why mess up a good thing? Sometimes being a head coach isn't all it's cracked up to be. Ask Steve Spagnuolo. Now, that's just not how things work. I don't know why. Truly, I don't know why. It's one thing I question. It's like, you got a good thing. We'll give you a couple $1 million boost so you can stay, and let's build the culture here. Let's continue the culture. The one good thing about that, though. So say Nick, I've got a few minutes. Let's do it. So say Drew Petzing gets removed. They keep Kyler Murray. Look at this offense. There's going to be people lined up. And I know that they've got dudes already on the staff that they can move into that role. You could bring in, like, say Brian Daboll gets fired or something. You could bring in a powerhouse OC with Kyler Murray, et cetera. Say Nick Rallis does take a head coaching job somewhere else. Would be the most coveted coordinator role in the offseason. And on top of it, so it's going to be the most coveted. Like, look at this defense, okay? Unless Garrett Williams and Will Johnson and Walter Owen forget how to play football, like this, for a handful of years, this will be one of the most coveted roles in professional football. So the Cardinals can bring in, whether they want to elevate somebody from the staff currently or they want to go get a stud who maybe was a head coach somewhere else and got canned or something like that. You want to bring somebody in. You still have Jonathan Gannon, who is the mastermind behind all of it. So Nick Rallis is much more easily replaceable. Not than Drew Petzing. He'll be easily replaceable because of this being Jonathan Gannon's defense that Nick Rallis has learned to run after being linebacker coach to the DC of Jonathan Gannon in Philly. So both of these coordinator roles, if vacated, will be highly coveted. They'll be highly coveted. And yeah, with or without Kyler Murray, this offensive coordinator role will be highly covered if they want to promote internally or outsource. So all of that is to say this. Going into 2025, unless we're barring any sort of unforeseen things, Jonathan Gannon ain't going anywhere. Same with Monty. And then the coordinator role, it's gonna be a good thing for one of them and bad production for the other as to why they go. If the Cardinals have the 30th ranked defense, something went catastrophically wrong. Nick Rawlis had a top 15 defense last year with bottom third talent, top to bottom. Imagine what he can do with all the talent the Cardinals have through free agency and the draft. It's going to be insane. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I will continue the camp competitions. Offense tomorrow, defense on Wednesday. Until then, remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.